All right, welcome to week 2 of the Coaches Show. I am Cody Eastis, the voice of the Greenbacks, here on behalf of My Country 98.3 and Eastis Media, and joined with, once again, head coach of the Pratt High Greenbacks, Brent Holting. Appreciate you sitting down with us, Brent.
Thing.
Always a lot more fun to do after a big week
Always,
1 win.
much more fun.
Little recap there. Played Larned last Friday night, and a really good outing for the Greenbacks, I thought. Just overall, 48-12 final score. Looked good. I know there were some things first quarter that slowed us down a little bit, but we'll dive into that game and kind of get to it. But kind of from the 30,000-foot view, what were your thoughts on that game overall?
I thought it was good. We're breaking in a ton of new starters we talked about last week. So, there's going to be some first game jitters. Defensively, I thought the biggest thing we had alignment issues and assignment issues in the first half. And, I thought we got that corrected at halftime and did a much better job. Offensively, we ran 12 plays in the first half and scored 36 points. I mean, you're not going to do much better than that.
Yeah,
so
that's
I thought we
in terms of efficiency. Yeah, on the mark there. Going down some of those stats there, he said 35 plays overall, and really a clean game too. Only 2 penalties, one on the 2-point conversion, and then one was a touchdown preventing penalty there. But only 2 penalties on week 1. Really speaks to the discipline. A lot of times you can see, and we saw it a little bit on the other side with Larned Friday night. A lot of pre-snap penalties, just a lot of confusion can happen often in a week 1 matchup. So I thought Pratt really fared well on the penalty side of things.
And if you look at our 2 penalties, one actually going back on tape, I don't think it was a penalty.
On the lateral. On the lateral. That one was tough to tell from our vantage point.
Well, mainly because he was still behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So he can pitch it forward when he's behind the line of scrimmage. So I thought that was pretty. And then the other one, Arley was making a heck of an effort. He'd blocked his guy literally from the line of scrimmage to 25 yards down the field. Now, his hands may got a little wide after a while, but when you drive a guy 25 yards,
that's
when
the
you're
kind
as
of long
penalty,
and tall as Arley is, it's really noticeable when those hands get out of the way.
That's the kind of one I'll take with a great effort like that.
Yeah.
That was a great effort by him. And, I thought it could have gone either way. But we didn't get the call, but the effort was great. And, you get that kind of effort every time, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, I was really impressed with that. Only 2 penalties you see so often, the delay of games, the false starts, the lining up, having to waste a timeout to get people in the right position. And then we really avoided a lot of those plays that, can set you back when you're trying to get a drive going. Speaking a little bit more on just the efficiency of thing on the passing side of things, 4-9 for 178. Again, most of these stat categories are going to be led by Max Uni, who had a great game. He was 2 for 3 in the air, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 294 total. Again, led by Uni with 11 carries, 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then had some big yardage by Owen Schmidt. Blake Windsor was in there too with the touchdown. Speak a little bit on the game of
Noah Riley.
And Noah Riley. I hadn't got to the receiving yards yet there. 178 total yards in the air and 2 big ones, huge ones from Noah Riley. 2 catches for 155, both of them touchdowns. That is crazy.
A school record.
Oh, really?
For receiving yards. Yeah, 150 was the old record for receiving yards.
That really surprises me. I wish Kelly was here to mentally fact check that, because that blows me away that would. I mean, that's
I
a
checked
heck
our
of a
record
game.
books.
But it surprises me that some of the classes and years that we've had that 155 would get it there. Well, congrats to Noah Riley.
A lot of running.
Yeah,
in those days.
Yeah.
But anytime you can complete 2 passes for 155 yards, you feel really good about it, because those are flip the field touchdown plays. So we've talked about all along, we don't have to pass a bunch, and of those pass attempts, I think 4 of the 9 were from varsity, and the other 5 were when our younger kids.
Yeah, a lot of those stats were.
And we about hit a couple more, and we about had Arley for a big play. We about had one towards the end with the younger kids. So anytime we can throw that few of times, but have that many yards, that's our goal. We want to bring the defense up, and then we want to go over the top of them. That's kind of the way we're designed, and it worked like that. And then I thought, like you said, we were efficient running the ball. We averaged over 10 yards a carry. Didn't get ourselves in many bad. The first possession is the only one we dropped the snap. We dropped the snap on that first possession, and but then Noah ran a great route. Max threw a great ball for that first touchdown. On the post. So I thought, other than that, I don't even know if we got into a third down all first half. And so I thought
off the top of my head, you might be right.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the kids' efficiency. I thought they executed. I thought offensive execution is something that I'm always not real pleased with early in the year. And I thought these kids executed assignment sound wise. Now I think we need to be more physical. You know, you hear me say that a lot. I thought we were too high, but in terms of going to the right guy and executing, we did by and large a pretty dang good job of that.
I was going to say, when you see those numbers and speak on the efficiency of them, that lends you to think that there wasn't much deficiency, but there's got to be. So what do you, after, you know, on that productive of a night, what do you look at on the deficiency side of things? Say, we still got to get better at this going into week 2. I know that's a big week 1 win, and as efficient as we were, it can still be cleaned up here and there, and I'm sure there are those points.
I think our kids would tell you I'm probably way harder on them after a win. I found a lot on tape. I think footwork, you know, I thought, you know, just little things like we want some steps here. We want a 6-inch or 3-inch step here. We were stepping with the wrong foot first. There was a couple times we scooped front side that we don't do that. A couple times our eyes weren't right. Our pull paths got a little wide. I like to get those tight because I like to get north-south quick. You know, we want to be physical. And the big thing, I thought we were standing up too much and catching. I thought we were doing that both offensively and defensively. I think we need to bring more intensity, more physicality. I think we need to be more physical up front. I thought we executed well, but then we need a little nasty with it. And I think that's something we've been working on all week is lower pads, getting a little more physical and finishing things.
Well, it's week 1. There's going to be things to work in going into week 2. If there's not, then, you know, Hall of Fame to Brent Holting already.
No, and that's definitely not true.
Went down, watched the JV game Monday night then, and we talked a little bit about it before we came on the broadcast here, just about the youth of this team and a lot of the sophomores that played Friday night, and then just the freshmen, sophomores, just getting to see those kids play in that Monday night JV game. How important is it, especially Friday night, getting those young kids those minutes, not only in the the third and fourth quarter, but just those sophomores getting that kind of first varsity experience that didn't get a chance to play last year or very little.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there. Those sophomores, you know, we have 6 or 7 playing a lot of meaningful snaps for us right now. Getting that first Friday Night Lights experience was a big deal, you know. And I thought that's some of our alignment is a little deer in the headlights. Like, you know, Friday nights are different. They just are. And you know, our kids, I thought our young kids, it was great getting them in a little action. You know, I teased a couple of them when they went in that I'm like, hey, after their first snap, like, you can breathe out there. Like, you don't have to hold your breath the whole time.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they were big-eyed. But then after that, I thought our young kids adjusted well Friday night. And then, you know, I was really proud of how our JV played on Monday, considering we have so many sophomores that a lot of them aren't suiting up. You know, most of the time your JVs, some juniors and all sophomores and freshmen. Well, a lot of our sophomores are playing up, and so a lot of freshmen on the field. And I was really proud of those kids, how they came out, played, you know, hit and really executed. I think that was the big deal. Our young kids have done a great job of learning that they are so far ahead of the curve offensively. We can run a lot more of our offense with them than we could have sometimes, you know, and obviously the offense is getting older and older. They've had it for 3 years now, but I've been really proud of those kids for how well they have taken to it and how much they know, so we can actually run more stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that offense before I do. I wanted to touch on just some of those sophomores. Like Caden Lugwood led the team in tackles Friday night, sophomore. A huge game on the defensive side of things. Colin Strong with his 2.5 sacks, the huge one early. And just, again, some names that, speaking on Ludwig there, that we haven't heard in the previous years. You know, Kopus had a great game. Gatlin had a great game. Just names that you haven't seen under those Friday night lights yet. And I thought it was really impressive how well they stepped up and, you know, are contributing varsity minutes.
Yeah, really proud of those kids, and the fact that, you know, we always talk about when it's your chance, you got to be ready. We don't know what's going to happen. We may go injury free all year, or we may have 7 in one game. You know, football's a funny game. You just don't know play to play. So when your number's called, go take advantage of your chance and make it to where you force us to play you more. And I thought we had a lot of kids. You know, it's a good thing as a coach, but it's a tough thing. I thought we had a lot of people step up and show that they can be Friday night football players. And with that, that's good because it gives you a rotation. But, you know, it's always hard. Pick your 11, and it's kind of one of those many times this year we may just ride the hot hand that night. Who's feeling it that night? Who's playing well? Who's getting off blocks? Who's being aggressive? Who's reading their keys? And so I think that's a good problem to have, and you can build some of that depth.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from what you spoke of earlier, is those JV games, the 8th all the way down to the middle school, getting just familiar with that offense. I was curious, kind of how that offense expands from year to year for those younger kids as far as, 7th and 8th grade. Are they learning 10% of the package, or, and then is JV learning 30% of the package, or is there a progression level that you'd like to see at those younger ages that, if they can have this base package down by the time they're out of 8th grade, then they can come into high school football JV ready. And then by the time they're sophomore, junior, seniors, they've fully grasped the offense. I was curious how you kind of delegated that offense.
Early on 7th and 8th, they're the basics, the basic plays. If they can just get, our play calls,
the terminology,
number, and then maybe by their 8th grade year, a couple variations, and then if you watch it very closely on film, the longer we get in high school, and then JV more variations, and then I think varsity wise, and you add all of the the false pulling, spinning, all the stuff we do to catch the eye of the defense, and then I think what's nice, our JV doesn't have this, is then on the varsity level, then we will, we're to the point. What's nice now is I can tinker a game week and say, hey, I think that I can see something. I think they're susceptible to this, and then we can put it in that week because we have so much of our base stuff down. And we've expanded so much that now it's easier when you're still trying to learn the offense. It's hard to put those little wrinkles in. When you have the offense down, it's a lot easier to install a wrinkle and something for that game week, that specific defense you're going to see.
Yeah, I wondered how much of that wrinkling and tinkling that you do, this being your 3rd year of the offense, coaches have to be getting a little more familiar with it, so it's, boy, how much do you adjust it on a week-to-week basis? Or is it just that, if we run it the right way, it shouldn't be able to be stopped?
Well, and there's a lot of that. I showed someone something someone asked the other day, so I put up our playbook app, and I can't remember. I counted. I think we have 18 different ways to run counter itself, and a lot of that is then I go into a game plan, or I'll go into we want to find out what are they reading, what are they doing, how can we make them wrong on it. And try to pick the ones until they adjust, and then we, we adjust.
It's like the chess game. You just always got to be that's 2 steps ahead.
Part. Yeah, right. That's the fun part of it. As a coach, when you think, man, I think I see something here.
Yeah.
I think that's always the fun thing. I know. I remember a few years ago we've talked about this. I think you and I have before when Coach Barrett Hoisington's a fantastic coach. He's one of the best coaches in the state, and we knew that, and we thought he would key our blocking back and that game that we kind of, we won 68-18. We opened up the season the first time this offense. So, everything followed our blocking back in the jamboree. And then, so I figured he would key on that. Well, the first 6 plays we ran, we just sent him the opposite way. And we scored 2 touchdowns, and their all-state linebacker, Led Robinson, came over and said, hey, what am I reading? You told me to read the blocking back, and he's going the wrong way every time. And he said, well, find the ball. And then, all right, our feeling is if we have them searching for the ball with our offense, then they're going to be slow to react. And when they're slow to react, we hit so fast that
we've said that before. That offense hits so fast that if you're on your heels trying to find the ball, it's already too late.
Right, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep them off balance to where they don't play downhill.
Yeah. Right. Heading into Hesston this week. Before we get to that, I wanted to go a little bit around the CKL and kind of wrap it up. What happened Friday night with some other league games. Hesston, we just mentioned Hoisington. Hesston was at Hoisington, 39-7 there. I haven't seen any film on that yet, but I'm sure you have. Halstead hosted Smoky Valley for their home opener. Another lopsided win there as Halstead won that game 47-8. Hillsboro versus Haven. Hillsboro pulled that one out. Probably the closest game of the CKL. Yeah, 40-38. Hillsboro wins that one by 2. And then, of course, us traveling to Larned picked that one up 48-12. Another close game of the night. Lions at Nickerson. Nickerson pulled that one out 6-0. I haven't seen any film on that either, but low-scoring game there. So, big matchup for Pratt going into Hesston this week with kind of the way things shook out. And imagine these league games, when you've got that back-to-back league title, on your shoulders with the motto of come and get it. These are big games coming up.
Yeah, and we're going to get Hesston's best shot. That you mentioned the score and Hoisington, they're one of the top ranked, depending on the poll, anywhere from 1 to 4 in 2A right now. They have state title aspirations, so they're a really good football team. That being said, the Hesston score is a little deceiving.
I saw that. They had some players that
they had some
didn't
players
play
out.
that probably are
Right.
going to play against us
Right.
and will make a huge difference.
The Fry
And
kid, who's probably the best
again, not
receiver.
to take anything away from Hoisington.
No,
just
they're
a different team than what was probably
Right.
on the field last week.
Fantastic football team. Their starting quarterback Fry, who maybe is the top returning receiver in the league, was out, and you take you look at us, you take Max out and a couple people, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
things
it's a
change
completely
little
different
bit.
ball game.
And so even with that, their first drive, they went down to the 1 yard line, fumbled a snap, couldn't jump on it. Hoisington turned it 90 yards for a touchdown. Their second drive, they got down inside the 15, didn't score. They had another one where they had a wheel wide open by about 10 yards and just barely missed it. So they had their opportunities. It very easily could have been. It was 14-0 at halftime. Could have been tied at halftime. And, it's one of those then always either came down and scored and you're up 21 and then you start pressing and, and the score gets away from you a little bit. But, I've told our kids, make no mistake, Heston's a well-coached, fundamentally sound, physical, big. They're really big up front, ball club, and it'll be a fight for 4 quarters on Friday night.
Last year was the first time we beat them at Zerger. I believe Heston has one of maybe the winningest record against Pratt as far as any team that's got a bit of a history. Right. I didn't have it written down here, but I think Pratt's only 3-8 against Heston, maybe all time. As far as the history of that short-lived matchup between Heston and Pratt, Heston's had the better end of it. Back up a little bit there from that Larned game, and I knew last season and the seasons before you'd always given out awards to the players or practice players or team players. Are you doing that this year?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because we're doing it, and then guess what I did? I completely forgot to give them out of practice after practice today. So when the kids watch this, they will find out.
Oh, you're going to reveal them. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I can tell you, so in the booth, we had our State Farm player of the game, which was Max Uni.
Yep.
And then we had the Mead Lumber hit stick. We didn't see it. We saw hit, but we didn't know the number of it, so we weren't sure who to give it to. So we gave our defensive hit stick player to Colin Strong for that huge sack he had, and another one, not necessarily maybe the biggest hit of the night, but that sack that was about a 20-yard loss was big and noticeable. So those were our awards on the booth side of things that we gave out that night. Curious to hear how you saw things and who you handed them out to.
Okay. Excuse me. We handed out the player of the game, Max Uni. I mean, it was tough. There was a lot of kids, like you said. Colin had 2.5 sacks. That's a big ball game. That many sacks. Logan, I think, had 2. Had a few TFLs. And obviously Noah 155 set the school. But anytime you can have 200 yards rushing and 155 passing, I thought Max really directed things well and played a great ball game. So I thought we gave that to Max. Scout team player of the week, man, that was a tough one because I tell you, our scout team, and that has been great. And I think you saw that Friday night where they played so well. They have been great this year. They're a good bunch. They work hard. They come there every day. We had a hard time deciding, but that went to Landon DeMuth. He's really had a great camp, great time. I mean, he's coming on as a freshman to the point to where he's pushing on varsity pretty soon as a freshman, and he's working his tail off in the weight room. He's doing great things. Can't say enough good things about the work he's done so far. But several of them, like I said, could have been named for that. Special teams player of the week, we gave it. He had the snafu early on the kick, but then Owen had the big hit. And big tackle Creston. We kind of shared it with them
as well.
Yeah, we shared it with them on kickoff and coverage stuff. I thought they did a good job with that. And then the hit stick went to actually on the fumble cause, Jack Barker.
Okay.
Jack Barker.
See, that's who I didn't see who caused that fumble from up in the booth, so I wondered who had caused that.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to those guys. Yeah, always fun to catch any new awards this year or anything new sticking with it the same.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, we gave them out the booth there and wondered if those were going to be close or similar to the ones similar to the ones that you gave out. I'm looking forward to seeing it Friday night. Keeping these coaches shows a little bit shorter. These are serving as our pregame interviews as well. So about the 20-minute mark is what we've been trying to get to, and we've got there. I did want to. Nope, I didn't have it written down. I thought there was a couple other things there I wanted to touch on, but I think we got it all. Big night, Larned. 1-0, always good to pick up a win, especially on their home turf. I know I heard some of the kids say it, that it was nice to have them be 0-1 on their home turf and to have it be from Pratt. Now we've got to take that momentum into Hesston Friday night. have a few players back.
That's a tough place to play.
Place to play. It always is. And like I said, it's proven to be tough to play them at home. So Hesston just always a tough matchup, and we're looking forward to it. Yeah,
looking forward to Friday night. Hope Greenback Nation travels there, and we have a big, loud crowd. Our crowd was awesome last Friday night. I mean, it was awesome.
I thought so too. We were sitting from the other side, being able to see it out front there. Pratt always travels well, and last week was no difference. I hope Friday night there at Hesston proves to be the same. Tune in. If you can't make it, tune in 7 o'clock Friday evening. We'll be on the radio, maybe a few other places, but My Country 98.3 is where you can find us, either on the radio or download the app. Coach Holting, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
That's all I got for you. All right, I want to give Coach Holting a big thank you for coming in for the weekly Coaches Show. And before we get out of here, I want to give a rundown on some other events and activities going on around the school. And we'll start with volleyball action. Last Saturday, the volleyball team had their Skyline tournament where they finished with a second-place finish. The Lady Greenbacks went 2-0 in pool play while they were out at PCC, and then headed over to the Skyline Gym where they defeated Sterling in the first game of bracket play, and then would eventually go on to lose to South Gray in the championship match for a second-place finish. They then traveled to Kingman for a triangular on Tuesday. They would drop one game there and win one game, defeating Kingman in the second game of the night and losing to Halstead. So the Greenbacks go 1-1 over in Kingman and finish with a second-place finish in the Skyline Invitational. On the cross-country side of things, nothing as of yet, but they do run at Wellington Saturday, so good luck to the cross-country team. Tennis, same thing with tennis. No events yet up to this point, but the Pratt Home Invitational will be here Saturday at 9 a.m. So if you want to get out and support the tennis team, get down there to the Walter Blake Tennis Complex. Things will start happening there at 9 o'clock. Should be a beautiful morning to get out and support your Greenbacks there. On the golf side of things, we talked about them last week on the halftime show of the football game, and they are off to a hot start. They'd come off a win at Crazy Horse in Hutchinson, and they followed that up with another win Monday at Medicine Lodge, taking home the team title, beating Hoisington by 18 shots with a score of 189, led by senior Avery Blasey, who was the individual champion, along with Aniston Teasley, tied for second. Other finishers, Lexi Blasey, Sage Coleman, Hayden Riffey, Raiden Crow, and the JV came away with a second-place score of 248 there. Their next action, if you want to get out and watch these girls, is going to be home at Pratt at Park Hills Monday. Tee-off will be at 3 o'clock, so get out there if you want to see this team that's won its first two tournaments of the year. This is your chance to do it. They've got two home meets. The first one will be Monday at 3 o'clock out at Park Hills. That does it for the athletic side of things, but not done with all the action. Saturday, we did a podcast a couple weeks ago with some of the folks in the musical, and Saturday night is when it all happens. So if you want to go see the play and the musical that they've been working on, Liberty Middle School Auditorium, 7:30 Saturday evening. If you can't catch that one or want to see both of them, check them out Sunday at 2 p.m. for the matinee. They've been practicing all summer, all fall, and are finally ready to take the stage and show you what they've been working on. Those are fun to go to. Went to last year's, and it was highly entertaining, and they do a great job. So good luck to them. Best of luck to all the Greenbacks in action this weekend, and we'll be back next week with another recap. Thanks for tuning in.